Okay, welcome everyone. My name's Haley. I work at Evolve Integrated Health as a chiropractor. Welcome to today's session. Today we're going to be focusing on what we call controlled articular rotations, which in short we call CARs. A little easier to remember and a little easier to say. So all that means is bringing a joint through its whole range of motion. And for me and you, that might be different. Some people have a little bit more range than others. That's okay, we're here to work with what we have, and as we do this more often, it will improve. So really just focus on working within your limitations and we'll progress as we move forward. There's a couple rules that we do with CARs. So the first one is the joint that we're working with is the only joint that we want moving. For example, if we're working on the shoulder, we don't want the neck and the spine and the hips tipping. So as you can, keep everything else tight. So for example, if I'm moving my shoulder, I want my core tight so I'm not as prone to wiggle around. So really just focus on the joint that we're working on. The other point is we don't want any closing angle pain. So if my arm's up, the small angle up here is our closing angle. We don't want any pinching, we don't want any sharp pain in there. It's okay to feel a stretch through here. Or for example, if we're doing our neck, it's okay to feel a stretch on this side, but we don't want anything sharp in here. If you feel any sharpness, just kind of back out of the stretch a little bit and work within the pain-free range that you have for now. And the last one is, when we're doing the movements, we're not just swinging our limbs around, we're moving as if we're kind of underwater and you're forcing, kind of pretending that the air is a little bit thicker than it is. So it just kind of slows the movement down and recruits a little bit more muscle. So we get control of the movement, we're not just kind of swinging through things. So as we go through, I'll remind you of these rules that we have, but strap in and we'll get ready to go. So the first one we're gonna do is our neck. So as we said, we're gonna kind of keep everything else nice and stiff and strong. We don't want any other joints in our bodies moving. So we'll start here, hands on the hips. You can kind of press your hands into your hips so you're not as prone to wiggle around. And we're going to pretend there's a pencil on the end of our chin. And we're going to draw the biggest circle that we can without any pain. So we'll start chin down towards the floor and up towards the side of the room, up towards the ceiling, towards the opposite side of the room, and back down to the middle. We're going to do the same one. Same direction. This time try to go a little bit wider if we can. So up towards the ceiling, nice and slow. Pretend we're underwater and moving nice and slowly. Opposite side of the room, back down to the middle. Good, and we're going to switch directions. So chin down towards the floor, towards the wall, up towards the ceiling, opposite wall, and back down to the middle. And we're going to do that one more time. So towards the wall, up towards the ceiling with our chin, towards the opposite wall, and down to the middle. Good, and come back to center. The next one we're going to do is our upper back. So kind of think from the bottom of the neck to the bottom of the rib cage is the area we're going to really focus on moving here. So to do that, we're going to keep our feet planted, try to keep our hips where they are, and to do that, we're going to keep the core engaged again. We're going to cross the arms in front of us, and what I want you to do, keeping hips still, slump your chest down towards the floor. Really think about each vertebrae bending one at a time. Once we're as far towards the bottom as we can, we're going to tilt our right shoulder towards the right wall, and then both of our shoulders towards our right foot, and then extend our chest towards the ceiling. Nice and slow, keeping the core tight. Then our left shoulder to the left side of the floor, both shoulders towards the left side of the floor, and then swing down around, hips towards the floor again. We're going to do that same thing one more time. So keep the right shoulder towards your right foot, both shoulders towards your right foot, extend the spine, chest up to the ceiling, left shoulder to left foot, both shoulders towards the left foot, so our chest is facing the floor now, and then rounding our chest back to the middle of the floor. You can stand up and take a break here for a second. Make sure the feet are planted nice and strong on the floor. Core is tight. We're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. So as we did before, one spine at a time, think we're rounding towards the floor. Once you get as far as you can, keeping the core tight and the hips still, we're going to bring our left shoulder to our left foot, so it tilts it to the side. Both shoulders towards our left foot, so our chest is facing the floor. And then we're going to bring our chest up to the ceiling. Remember, try to keep the hips facing forward, keep them tight. Now we're going to do our right shoulder to our right foot. Should feel a nice stretch on your left side there. Both shoulders towards your right foot, so chest is facing the floor. And bring it round back to the middle. We're going to do the same thing one more time. So left shoulder to left foot. Both shoulders towards the left side of the room, so chest is facing the floor. Chest is going to come up towards the ceiling, keeping the hips as still as we can. Right shoulder towards the right foot. Big stretch there on the side. Chest towards the right foot. And back round to the middle. Go ahead and stand up. So far we've worked from our neck to the middle of our back. We have 2 shoulder ones standing before we change position. Ideally, I would love if everyone had a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, a water bottle between the hands, a pillow, just something we can squeeze in on so we can focus on the movement in our shoulder blades and we're not getting too much movement up here. I'm going to show you this one sideways so it might make a little more sense. This one, we're really trying to move the shoulder blades across the rib cage in the back. Especially if we're desk workers and we're hunched all day, this is a really great movement to kind of get the shoulders pulled back. So we're going to squeeze in on our block or water bottle, whatever it is that we're squeezing in on. What we're going to do is push that object away from you. So your shoulder blades should be pulling apart away from your spine. We're going to shrug our shoulders up to our ears while keeping the block away from us. Then we're going to pull it back in so the shoulder blades are pulled towards us. Make sure to keep the core tight and that the low back isn't arching. We're going to drop the shoulder blades towards the floor and then push the object away from us again. So one more time in this direction. Blocks away from us, shrugging shoulders up, pulling shoulders back towards the spine, keeping the core tight. Drop the object down towards the floor, keeping the core tight, and push it away. Now we're going to do 2 in the opposite direction. So keeping shoulders down, we're going to pull the block towards us, pull the shoulder blades towards the spine, shrug up towards the ceiling with our shoulders, push the block out away from us, pull the block down towards the floor. Shoulder blades pulled back in towards the spine, block comes towards us. We're going to shrug our shoulders up towards the ceiling and push the block away from us. And then come back and rest. And these are all things that we can kind of do throughout our day at our desk. For example, the neck, and that one is a good example of one that you can do just sitting at the desk if you have a couple minutes between emails that you're writing or whatever it is that you're doing. This stuff, the more frequent we can do it, the better the mobility is going to become. Our last one standing here is going to be our shoulder. This one's a little tricky, so I'll really try to verbalize what's going on here, so just pay close attention. This one, there's a big tendency for people to wiggle and wobble, so make sure the core stays really tight through here. What we're going to do, thumb is going to be facing forward. Your opposite arm you're not using, I want you to plant on your side so you're a little bit less likely to twist around. So what we're going to do is draw our arm across our body, across our chest. Remember, if there's any pain in the front, just back off of it a little bit, but keeping it as close to the chest as we can. We're going to bring it up until it's overhead. Thumb is facing behind. We're going to lift the fingertips up to the ceiling, back down. Remember to keep the core tight so we're not poking our chest forward. Keeping the arm straight overhead, I want you to turn your thumb towards the front of the room and all the way around if you can. See how I'm leaning? I need to stay back here, so I'm going a little too far than I should be. So thumb is going to face behind us. Lift as far behind as you can, thumb behind you, back to middle. So now I'm standing pinky forward, thumbs behind. Same thing, try to keep the shoulders and hips nice and stacked if you can. So we're going to keep thumb behind us. Thumb is going to go straight towards the wall behind us. Once you hit that wall and you can't go any further, I want you to turn your palm towards the outside of the room. And as you do that, you're going to begin lifting your arm overhead. So palm is now in front. Pinky is now in front, we're straight overhead. Arm's going to reach up, arm's going to reach down. We're going to come back across your body and back to the middle. We're going to repeat that one more time. So thumbs in front, we're coming across our chest, making sure our shoulders are staying level, fingers up towards the ceiling, back down. This is the part we really need to focus on, our chest not tilting. So really keep the core tight, keep the feet planted into the floor. Begin to rotate the palm towards the outside of the room. So thumb is behind us. We're going to go behind. So now my thumb is facing the back of the room, pinky's facing the front, back by our side. We're going to reverse the direction one more time here. So thumb towards the wall behind you. Palm begins to rotate towards the wall. We come up, pinky's leading. Arms straight up overhead. Reach up above and come across and down. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other arm. So starting hand by the side, core tight, thumb forward. We're going to bring our arm across our body, draw it across, the biggest circle we can without any pain in the shoulder. We're going to come straight in front. We're going to lift straight above, fingertips to the ceiling, back down. We're going to begin to rotate, so the palm's going to come in front of you and it's going to go out towards the wall. Keeping our shoulders at the same level. We're going to reach behind us as far as we can, palms up. Thumb is towards the back of the room. And bring it down by your side. And we're going to reverse again. So thumb behind us towards the wall. You hit that end range, you can't go any further. Palm's going to rotate toward you, towards the wall behind you. Pinky is leading. We're coming straight up overhead. Reach up to the ceiling again, back down, and across. Good. And we'll have one more in each direction here. So, thumb is forward. We're reaching across our body as far as we can with no pinching pain. Shoulders are staying level. Core is staying tight. Pinky is leading in the front, facing us. We move up towards the wall, back down. We begin to rotate, so palm's going to face the front of the room. Palm's going to face the side. We're going to reach behind us without twisting our shoulders or arching our low back. Thumb is now facing behind us, and we bring it back down by our side. Last one here, so thumb back behind. Rotate towards the wall. So palm is facing the side. Core is tight. Hands coming forward. Pinky is leading. Reach up towards the ceiling, pinky's leading and come across, back down to the middle. Okay, so we're going to take a break here. The next one we're going to do is our low back. And to focus on moving just the low back, we're going to go on all fours so we avoid moving the upper back and the neck. Ideally, you have a yoga block. If not, we can use a pillow just so you have something to squeeze in on. So what we're going to do is kind of come down, put the forearms on the floor, squeeze in on that block if you can, or a pillow, whatever it is you have. You can rest your head if you'd like. That kind of will help us take the neck out of the movement. We're going to really focus on the low back here. So what I want you to do is picture there's a string on your lower back and it's pulling you up to the ceiling. So we're going to slowly arch into a cat position if you're familiar with yoga. So right now, each of my vertebrae are spread apart. I'm lifted up towards the ceiling. Now picture there's a big heavy weight that's going to fall here and kind of push you back down. So we're arching the low back. We're going to repeat that 4 times. So string pulls us up towards the ceiling, squeezing in on that block so the upper back's not moving. A big weight's coming down and we're slowly getting squished in the lower back by it. and then up towards the ceiling, like our cat. Stay squeezing in on the block. Big weight's coming down and it's arching our lower back. And then the string's pulling us up. Really tuck the tailbone. And then big weight comes down last time there. Good job. Grab a drink or a sip of water if you need to. We're gonna do our hips next, and we're gonna do that laying on our side. Feel free to use a block or a pillow underneath your head just for a little bit more comfort. The important thing with doing the hip is really focusing that the movement is all happening at the hip joint, that the back is not arching as we go. So as we lay on our side, legs are straight out below us. We're gonna take our top leg and put our knee on the floor in front of our other one. And we're gonna bring our knee up towards our chest as far as we can. Once again, we don't want any pinching in the front. So bringing that up towards, as far as we can towards our chest. Then we're gonna picture that there's a string pulling our knee up towards the ceiling, keeping the core tight so that the low back isn't arching. Next thing I want you to do, keep the knee still in space. There's another string on your ankle, and that's lifting your ankle up towards the ceiling. And now what we're gonna do is keep our hip in this position, kick the heel back behind us, core is tight, low back is not moving. And then we're gonna bring it down by our side, back to the beginning. We're gonna do one more in that direction and then we'll switch behind us. So we're gonna draw the knee across the floor up towards the chest. String pulls our knee up to the ceiling, low back's not moving. Knee stays still in space. Heel kicks back towards behind us, so the outside of our ankle is facing our ear. Low back stays tight, heel goes back towards the wall behind us, and back down. Definitely normal to feel some cramping in here. It's not something we work on a lot, so that's why we're doing it here today. Our next one, we're gonna reverse the direction. So we're gonna lift up slightly, heel's gonna go straight behind us. Once again, keeping the back still, so stop where your hip range of motion ends. We're not going further because the back is arching. So back is still, tailbone is tucked under us, we kick our heel back. What we're gonna do is lift our knee up as far as we can towards our ear. The heel in the front is gonna come forward as if you're kicking a ball. So you're gonna try to bring the inside of your heel towards your face as far as you can. This one's really tough. Then we're gonna bring our knee across, down to the floor, back to the middle. One more here in this direction. So heel kind of comes off the foot behind us, straight behind the wall, core is tight, hips are stacked, the back is not arching. We're gonna lift our knee up towards our ear as far as we can. Knee stays still in space, heel comes forward as if we're kicking a ball. Bring our knee up to our ear as far as we can, to our chest, down on the floor, across, and rest. We're gonna switch sides, do the same thing. Keep the pillow under your head or block, whichever you have. Same thing. So what we're gonna do is top knee comes up towards our chest on the floor, as far as we can. Once you can't get any further with no pinching in the front, knee is gonna open up behind us, so it's coming up towards our ear. Knee is gonna stay still in space. Heel is gonna kick back behind us as if the outside of your ankle is coming up towards your ear, holding this position. We're gonna kick back behind us, keeping core tight so the back's not arching. Coming back down to the middle. And relax. We're gonna do that one more time. So knees tracing along the floor up towards the chest, as far as we can with no pinching. Knee is gonna lift up towards the ceiling. That's gonna stay still in space. Heel on the outside is gonna come towards our ear behind us, holding this position. We're going back towards the wall, core is tight, back's not arching. And we're coming down again, back to our starting position. We're gonna reverse the direction 2 more times. We're gonna lift up slightly. Heel is gonna kick straight back behind us. Core is tight, low back's not moving. Knee is gonna lift up towards the ceiling as far as we can with no pinching. We're gonna kick that soccer ball forward, so bottom of our foot's trying to face the front of the room. We're gonna bring our knee up to our ear, towards our chest, towards our nose, on the floor, back to the middle. Last one here. So, we're gonna bring our heel up a bit, kick it back behind us. Knees coming up towards the ceiling, kicking our soccer ball forward, bottom of the foot's facing the front of the room. Knee comes up to the ear, up to the chest, up to the nose, back down, and relax. Okay, our last one we're gonna do is our knees. So we're gonna sit up. If you find sitting is uncomfortable like this, we can sit on our block, our pillow. You can do this one in a chair if that feels better for you, but we're gonna focus on the knees. So we'll start with just one of them. Whatever position is comfortable with your opposite leg, whether that's straight out in front of you or here for some balance, that's okay. So with our knee goes straight and bent, but it also can twist in space. And the way we wanna make sure it's just happening at the knee is we're gonna keep the ankle flexed. So your ankle's gonna be as close to 90 as you can so that we know that the movement's happening at the knee. As you sit here, knee slightly bent, I want you to kind of feel in the front of your knee there's a little bony spot. What I want you to do is twist your toes towards the wall and make sure that you feel that that bony part is moving. It doesn't move a lot, so just make sure that we know that the movement's happening at the knee. So what we're gonna do, knee is gonna be bent as far as we can comfortably. Ankle stays bent the entire time. Toes are gonna go towards our midline. Then we're gonna kick our legs straight out in front of us. Toes towards the outside of us. Bend it back. You can use your arms to help support the weight of your leg if that makes you more comfortable, or you can continue the movement. All with the hip flexor. It can be challenging, so if you're just beginning this for the first time, I suggest kind of holding your leg so you have a little bit more support. So we're gonna do that same one again. Knee's gonna be bent as far as we can. Toes towards our nose, midline. Kick out straight in front of us. Toes towards the outside of the room. Bend the knee. And we're gonna reverse the direction. So toes stay out towards the outside of the room. Knees bent. We kick straight in front of us. Toes towards the middle of the room. Bend the knee. We're gonna do that one more time. So toes are in towards the midline of our body. Kicking straight out. Toes towards the outside of the room, knee comes bent. We're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. This is our last one here. So we're gonna start, you can support underneath your knee if that makes you comfortable. Knee's gonna start bent, ankle stays flexed the entire time. Toes come towards our midline, straight out in front of us. Toes towards the outside of the room, bring the knee in towards the chest and bend the knee. Good. We're going to reverse the direction. So toes stay out towards the outside of the room. You straighten the knee. Toes towards our nose, midline. Bring the knee back in. Good. We'll do one more in each direction. So toes stay towards midline. Kick the leg straight out in front of us. Toes towards the outside of the room. Bring the knee back in towards the chest. Last one here. Toes stay out towards the outside of the room. Kick straight in front, turn the toes inside, and bring that back in towards the chest. So today we worked through our neck, our upper back, our shoulders, our lower back, our hips, and our knees. Those are kind of the major joints of the body. These exercises are something that can really help with stiffness, especially in the morning. This could be a great routine before you start your day. And as I mentioned also, at the desk, we can do a couple of these as well. So if you find you're getting some stiffness to the upper back and the neck, working at your desk all day, you can kind of add these in. Like I said, doing them throughout the day and more frequently is the best way to kind of get your bang for your buck with mobility. So I'm Haley, thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you left feeling good.